All right. Are you able to see my screen and are you able to hear me? I can't hear you. Okay, tutorial 3. There is our UI there. So for this tutorial, please observe the data module unit provided and the DB components. Inspect the header file of the data module to see what components you are going to work with. So we can see we are given numerous plenty of data sets and use queries and data sources. Okay, so as you can see here, each data set is responsible for a particular table. Each data set is responsible for a particular table in the database. So if you could quickly go to your database, you would find that accommodation types has its own data set there called ADODS accommodation types. PAMS has its own data set, and so on and so on and so on. So each data set will be linked to a particular table in the database. Is it a question? Okay, not a question. Okay. So this question pertains to the use of the database and the applicable data module and other access components, data access components. So we have question 1, which is the form show event, where we are supposed to write code in this event that we'll use and modify the query of the ADODS Rangers dataset to display the data from the Rangers table, including the years of service for all the Rangers. Okay, before we even go further, I just want to see how many people have already started with this tutorial. How many? No one. How? Oh, only one. Yeah, Mohali. So ideas were Hasao. I don't know, guys. Do you think it's fair if I do this, or should I wait until you do it, and then I can come after with the corrections? Because I don't think it's going to benefit you if I could do it without you having attempted it first. Will it be fair on you if I do it now while you have not attempted it? Hi, Bato. Speak with me. Speak with me. Hmm? Hmm? Sorry, you were saying?
I was saying that don't do it until you do it, because if you have some questions, we'll ask you through email.
All right. So we all agree with what Mr. Ed is saying. I am not going to
Yes.
do it. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Let me look for a paper we can do. Unless if you want this session to be a question and answer session, that is also fine with me. Are there any questions you want me to answer?
Nothing for now, sir.
Okay. Did we do this question? By the way, I think last time I gave you guys a paper which you should finish. What was that paper for? What was that paper for? Okay, it's fine. I think we can also answer this one. Oh, this one we have done. Okay, but it's fine. We can answer this one. The final summative assessment A, which was the SIG test written this year, first semester. Okay, this was out of 72. And then let's start with the first question. I think we've been doing database questions all along. So maybe it's time we cover everything from now on. So this is the UI of this paper. Konja, you guys need the files, ne? Okay. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to share them with you in the chat. Today now. All right, yeah. There are the files in the chat. Let's get straight into it. I think we have already wasted, I think, about 9 minutes complaining. So I'm going to close this one. I'm going to close this one as well. Okay, so question 1. Write the code that will dynamically instantiate a close button on the first tab sheet. This bitmap button should automatically close the form when clicked on. You must position your button in the same approximate position as that in the sample screenshot above. Name your button BTG close. All right, so the concept of dynamically instantiating something, have we done it before? Have you heard about dynamically instantiating something?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get this project. Okay, did you also know that every component, by component I mean control, ne? And by control I mean buttons, labels, etc. Did you know that we can create a button or whatever component that is during runtime instead of creating it during design time? Were you aware of that? For example, this bitmap button, which is bit button, if we are able to place it like that on the form during design time, we are also able to create it via code at runtime. Okay, and to do that, we will always need to know two important properties, or rather, let me put it like this. We need to know, number one, what is the class name of this button? What is the class name? The class name will refer to the name of this button, which is a T-bit button. So what is the class name? Number two, we need to know where is it located on the form. And to determine its location, we are always going to use two properties called top and left. So this button, as you can see, I have placed it here, right? And what we are saying there is this button, if we go and inspect the top property, you will see top has a value of 476, meaning this button is placed 476 pixels from the top. 476 pixels from the top, right? That is the first property to determine the location of a component. The second property is left, which says this button is located 712 pixels from the left. So if we are to create a button somewhere around this area, we need to know the left property.
So we can't hear you.
Am I back? 1212 1212. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Okay, where did I lose you? Okay, I will just take it from the top. So I was saying we are able to create a component during runtime, and whenever we do that, we will be dynamically instantiating that component. And I said, in order for us to create a component during runtime, we need to know what is the name of that component that we want to create or we want to put on the form. Again, we need to know the location of where that component should appear at. Then the third thing, we need to know who owns that control. Who owns that control? Meaning, who or on what component will this component be created on? For example, if this component is placed as it is right now, we are saying this component belongs to question 1 tab. As you can see, even here on the right hand side, you will notice that this bit button appears under question 1 tab sheet. Okay, so that is very important. We need to know where this bit button or to whom this bit button belongs to. So without wasting any further time, we said to determine this position, exactly this position that we are at, we need to know two properties, which is the left property as well as the top property. So you can see we have some tooltip or hint text there that says 004, 476. These two values represent the values or the position of this button. The 704 states that this button is 704 pixels from the left. So 704 is the left property of ours. And then 476 is the top property, which says this button is 476 pixels from the top. Now that we know that, we can go to the code and start creating that button. So they told us that we should name the button BTT close. And we know that we are working with a bitmap button. A bitmap button, which is that bit button. So we are going to say T bit button, T bit button, come on, boom. So T bit button, and then we call it BTT close. So because we want to be creating this button dynamically, we have to use the new keyword somewhere. So we are going to say is equals to new T-bit button. New T-bit button. Okay. So as you can see now, it says, okay, if you want to create this BTT close dynamically, you should give us the owner of this button, meaning where is this button going to be created at? Who is the parent? Who is going to be the parent of this button? So we are going to say the parent of this button is going to be our form. So we are going to go and copy the form name, which is declared always at the top, form exam part A, and then we are going to pass it in there. Okay, or you can somewhere just use this inside the parenthesis, inside this parenthesis. You can just say this, meaning this form, or an object of this form, of this class, sorry, an object of this class. Okay, now we need to know the location. Where is this button going to be located? Okay, then we will say this button is going to be located at 728 pixels from the left. Again, we need to know the top property, where we'll say this button will be located 476 pixels from the top. So we have dynamically instantiated this button. We have determined its location. Now we need to know who will be the parent again. So whatever that we have specified in this bracket, we need to specify it again on the parent property. So we are going to say the parent of this button will be this, meaning it will be this form. Right? But now the question here says we should instantiate a close button where? On the first tab sheet. So now we are incorrect in using the this operator. Therefore, we need to replace the this with the tab sheet called tabs question 1. If I still remember, tabs question 1. So that is where we want to create our T-bit button. So we are going to say, okay, the parent of this button is called tabs question 1 or tab sheet question 1. And then you remember whatever that is in the parentheses should also come down here as the parent. Okay? And then finally, or rather before we even go further, let's try to compile this, run it, and see what output we will get. Unable to perform link. So let's do this. Open project. I think it's document Bakadero, this one. Please give it some few minutes. It's been a short, long semester. Even the computer is tired now. Okay, thank you for joining us. Okay, let's try to compile it this side. Okay, successful. Let's see it come up. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so as you can see there at the bottom, we have something there. Can you see? We have something there. And that is because of this code, that we have just written there. T-bit button, btt close equals to new T-bit button, and then we want our button to appear on this tab sheet. And as you can see, it is on tab sheet 1. If we go to question 2, it's not there. We go to question 3, it's not there. You see? And then whatever is in the parentheses should also come down to the parent property. And then here we specify from the left how many pixels should this button be. And then we said 728. And then from the top we said 476. So now the question that said this button should automatically close the form when clicked on. And currently if we click on this button, nothing happens. Nothing happens. So let's get into that. Now, a T-bit button is a special type of button that has events or actions already attached to it. Yeah? So let's quickly do an F1 there so that we can see the type of events or actions associated with this button and how we can call those events. So we're not getting anything there. Let's try this side. Okay, so a T-bit button is a push button. It's a push button control that can include a bitmap on its face. These buttons, they have the same behavior as button controls. So we use them to initiate actions. Okay. Implement properties and play. Okay, can you button stars, blah blah blah. Okay. Okay. The kind property of T-bit button provides commonly used buttons such as OK button, cancel button, or help. So these predefined button types have corresponding graphical images and default behaviors. Okay, so let's go and check for if we could get them the kind. Okay, I'm not going to get them on this one, but yes, this is what I wanted to show you. These predefined button types, they are referring to the OKs, the cancel, the help. They have corresponding images and default behaviors. That is why the question there had said to automatically close the form. It means there is a default behavior somewhere for this BTT close. And to get those behaviors, we get them using the property. Let's do this. We get them using the property called kind, meaning what kind of a button should this be. So we are going to say BTT close, and then we say kind, and then we can quickly press F1 there, and then let's see if we can get the kind. Okay, button kind, nothing there. Button kind in here. Okay, and these are the kind of buttons that are available for us. Okay, so we have button custom. This is the one that we, if maybe we want a different set of behavior which is not predefined, then we could use BK custom. But we have BK OK, where the text OK will appear on the button, and then there will be a default behavior. Okay, there will be a default behavior. There's also cancel, there's yes, there is no, there's help, there is close, there's abort, there's retry, ignore, and then there's all. I mean, there is yes to all text. So now, according to our question, we want the form to close when this button is clicked. So out of all these kind of buttons that are listed there, which one will we use to automatically close the application?
I think the close, BK close.
BK close. So we can come now and say the button kind that we want is BK, standing for button kind, and then we say close. Now you will see something happens now. You remember when we read, they said these types of buttons, they have an image and a text to it. So now if you can check, there is a image which is a bitmap image there, and there is a text that says close because we said close. So now if you press this, you'll see automatically the form closes. Any questions on this one? Any questions on this one? So you'll see for help, here's what happened. When we press there, it will initiate whatever help that is there. I'm not sure if it has any help, but that's what it will attempt to do. If there is no, I mean, if you say BK no, and then a no button will come up there. It's very snazzy, eh? So there is a T-bit button. Any questions on T-bit? And how to dynamically instantiate a component. Look, it could go for any component. It could be a label, it could be a GB navigator, it could be anything. But this will always be the standard procedure. Awesome. I take it there is no question there. So 1.2, complete the code for the on-click event of the convert button that will transform any entered text into this edit box irrespective of the case as follows. Number 1, we must convert all the text to all capitals, and we must remove the occurrence of a space as well as the occurrence of a period. So we are going to answer this step by step. So we are going to start by making everything uppercase. So we are going to start here and we are going to say ANSI string phrase equals EDT phrase text. Okay, and then we are going to make this uppercase, so we can just say here dot uppercase. Okay, the second bulletin says remove each occurrence of a space. All right, so it means we need to get inside this phrase and go character by character and check if a particular character is a space. Okay, so we are going to say int I equals to 1 because this is an ANSI string. Is equals to 1, and then we say I is less or equals to phrase dot length. This will return the number of characters inside this ANSI string, and then we want to increment by 1. So let's go and remove all the spaces. So obviously we can go with an if statement that says if is space what this character inside this variable. If it's a space, then we want to do something. So we are going to say phrase dot delete. We want to delete where? At the index of I. Well, how many do we want to delete? We want to delete 1. The reason why we are deleting at the index of I is because on that index we would have found a space. So if something is a space, we now say on that index delete only 1 character, meaning that space will get deleted. Okay, so let's go ahead to the second bulletin, which says we must also remove the occurrence of a period. Now, what is a period, if I may ask?
Dot.
Dot slash full stop. Ne? So let's go ahead, and I want us to write it in here as well. If phrase at index I, meaning the character at that index, is equals to a dot, I want us to see what will happen. So we are now going to say phrase dot delete where on this index where we found a dot, delete how many? Delete only 1. Okay, and then let's go and display the results on label convert, which uses the caption, and then we give it phrase. So let's go and see if that will give us the correct answers. So convert. Now you will notice that all the text is in uppercase, but now we have a space there. We also have a space there. Why is this the case? Why is this space not deleted, but all the other spaces and all the other full stops are deleted? Anyone who can give us an explanation there? Anyone?
I think that it treats that space as a new line.
As a new line. Nope. No. Why new line? Where is it? No, not even. It can. I don't think it can be a new line. Not. Not a new line. What's the other reason why you think this may have happened?
I think maybe because there's
So
a period and space.
You think because?
Of a period and a space.
Okay, and then the other one who wanted to speak.
No, so I just wanted to say it's where you remove the period.
So you guys are saying the problem is here, where we have a space and a period. Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Okay, but okay, can you maybe describe for me in detail, maybe looking at this code as well, what really happens there?
I think that maybe when you find a period, maybe you must delete 2. Then when you find a space, then it's just 1.
Yes, that's okay. That's one way to write the solution. But I just need an explanation regarding the looping and all that. Yes, this will be correct. But I need. Actually, you know, when you have the answer in your head and you want someone to say the answer exactly as you want it, but you know it's not possible, but you are hoping someone might have caught it. You know, I am at that stage right now. Okay, maybe the person who says we should use 2. Why 2 there? Because that is exactly what I want from you. Why 2? What did you notice?
What I notice is that when we find a period, we find that there are 2 characters, whilst when there's a space, there's only 1 character to delete. Because a space is also counts as something; it's not void.
Okay. Partially. So are we saying if we do something like let's see. Okay, no, nothing. But okay, here's what happens ultimately. Let me rephrase my question to this. Let's say inside phrase we have okay, let's say inside our phrase we have this, ne? And then I say delete on index 1, delete 1. What do you think happened? Let us also say that this L, the character L, this one, ne? Let's say it's sitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So L is on index 15, ne? And then now I say delete 1, 1, meaning I want to delete this S, right? So are we now saying this L still has or is still sitting on index 15?
No, it's on 14 now.
It's on 14 now. Ne? So now what happens is whenever we delete something from a string, the indexes reduces. Ne? The value of that indexes get reduced by the number of characters deleted. So in our phrase, if we find a full stop, ne? And then initially we had delete one. If we find a full stop, then here's what happens. That full stop gets deleted. Again, once it gets deleted, it means the space that was after the full stop is now occupying the index of that full stop. You get? And that index was the one which we were currently at. So it means when the loop continues, it no longer, when it goes to the next iteration, it now sees another character which is I instead of that space, because the space shifted to the index of where the full stop was. That is why it's not able to delete a full stop as well as a space at the same time, because the space, when we find the full stop, the space shifts to the index of a full stop. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now for us to solve that, okay, the gentleman proposed we use 2 for when we find a space, so that we could quickly erase that full stop and the space that will follow this full stop. Ne? The second approach would be the if statement for getting the period or the space we do in a separate for loop. Right? So another approach will be this if statement, we take it out, and then we create another for loop that will loop and delete all the spaces. And then in here we have that if statement which only deletes one this time, because the spaces will be deleted by this loop, and then this loop only deletes the period. So this would be another approach if we do not want to use the delete I, 2. All right, any questions on that one?
No, it's good, sir. It's good. It's good.
Right. 1.3, write the code for the on-click event of the generate n hexagonal button that will generate the first number, the first hexagonal numbers when the value of n is supplied by the user using an input box. Okay, see the descriptions below as well as the screen. Okay, a hexagonal number is a figure 8 number. The nth hexagonal number is the number of distinct dots in a pattern of dots consisting of outlines and regular zones where are overlaid so that they share one vertex. Okay. The formula for the whatever hexagonal number is as follows. Hexagonal number is equal to 2 multiplied by n squared minus n. So the first few hexagonal numbers are like that. The image is only for illustrative purposes. Only the formula needs to be referenced. Okay, so when the user enters 6, we only get 6 hexagonal numbers. Okay, let's get into that. So we have int, let's see, int numbers in a series to generate. So I'll say series is equals to, and then they said we should use an input box, ne? An input box which will receive the caption The caption is this heading here, hexagonal numbers, this one, and then it will also receive the message, which is this one, and then it will also receive the value which will be entered by the user. Okay, so number one, we have the caption, which is hexagonal numbers, and then number two, we should have the prompt. Okay, the message, then we'll say number series in numbers or whatever, numbers in series to generate. So numbers in series to generate, and then lastly we are going to have the value. So we are going to say if the user doesn't enter anything, the default value should be 0, or it should be 1 or 2 or whatever. So we could just choose 6 as a default value according to the screenshot. Now this input box will allow the user to enter something, and whatever that will be entered by the user will be stored inside our variable. But now this input box returns a string, and as you can see, we are storing the answer into an int. So somewhere we have to convert that answer that is going to come here to an integer. Okay, so now as you can see, we have this number 6 entered, and then 6 values on hexagonal numbers are displayed, only 6 of them, because we entered 6. So this means that we have to create a loop that will loop from 1 or from 0 until less than 6. 0, okay, let's pick to 1. I'm not sure if that is going to work, but anyway, let's say I is less or equals to series, because this is where that number is going to be stored, series, and we only want to loop according to the number that is inside that variable. So now we have a for loop there, and you'll remember they've given us a formula to use. So I might as well declare hex number there, and then I can come in here and say hex equals to 2n squared, 2n squared minus n. Okay, minus n. So now the first thing that we need to know is, what does n represent? What does n represent? So I'll get a calculator there, and then I am going to test if n is represented by my I. So let's say we started at 1, so I'm going to have 2. Let's switch to scientific there. I'm going to have 2 multiplied by n, and then I will assume n is I, and I initially is 1, so I'll say what is happening now. 2 multiplied by 1 to the power of 2, so I'll say xy, oh shit, multiply by, open this, and then we say 1 to the power of 2 minus 1, and then we get the first hexagonal number, which is 1. Is 1 there? Yes, 1 is the first one, and then the second one we have, can't I edit this? I will be 2. Okay, I can't edit. Okay, so I have 2 multiplied by 2 now. Oh, come on. 2 multiplied by 2 to the power of 2 minus 2. So now I get 6. So it seems like this n is represented by the I. So I'm going to say 2 multiplied by I to the power 2 minus I. So now that I've sorted out the n part of the formula, I now have to solve this part. How do we make a square of a number in C++? How do we make the square of a number in C++? So we know that when they say I to the power of 2, they actually mean I multiplied by itself. Ne? Correct me if I'm wrong. I multiplied by itself. So I can just come here and say I times I. Is this the same as I to the power of 2?
Yeah, it is.
It is. All right. So now let's go and see if we are able to add the correct answer. So I'll say my list box items, I want to add an item. So I'm going to add a hexadecimal number in the form of a string into my list box. Okay, let's see if that works out. I'm particularly not sure. So here is that input box of ours. I have hard coded the value 6 as a default value. So that is why it comes up with that 6. So I'm just going to press OK. And then this is our output. 1, 6, 15, 28, 44, 65, which corresponds to this output in here. 1, 6, 15. Yes. Any questions on this question? Any questions?
It's good, sir. It's good.
Good. All right. Let's get to other interesting stuff. All right. So we have in 2 where we are supposed to calculate the ranger's monthly drive salary. Okay. So for this question, please study the content of this file. Okay, as part of the coding solution that you are going to develop, you need to implement the list raw data list T-string object, which has been instantiated as part of the constructor of the form. It is already instantiated, so there is no need for us to instantiate this object. So the CSV file contains the details of a ranger, the camp code, and the number of drives for 4 weeks that the ranger did. So this is week 1, the ranger did 11 drives, week 2, 9, week 3, 9, week 4, 10. Okay? Implement the given getFillByNumber function and other string manipulation techniques to generate a report that will summarize the total game drives per week over the 4 weeks that the ranger has done. The settings of the rich edit box has been given. Complete the code that will load and process the data from the CSV. Display the report indicating the sample screenshot above. Okay, use the given form class attributes in the development of solution. A form class method named display report header to add the headings to the report, or to the rate output rich edit has been supplied. For the report, okay, use the following variables. Okay, for the report, the code should also be added that will sort the data according to the ranger's details in ascending order. Summarize each row by adding an average of 4 weeks. At the end of the report, the total drivers for all rangers should be displayed. The total drives for all rangers. Okay, marks for the question loading, we get 2 marks to load. Sorting the data, we get 8 marks, and then to generate report, average and total, we get 10 marks. So in full, 20 marks. Okay, I see we only have 3 minutes left, but let us answer this question and we close with it. So first thing first, we would, if it was not, we would instantiate our T-string listener. So for this question, always go over to the header file and check what variables you are given. So you'll notice you are given the one read line, the list raw data list, and the current line. Okay, and to initially or to begin, we need the list raw data to load a file for us. So we're going to say list raw data load from file, and then we want to go back one folder, go up another folder, get into app data or app files, whatever the name of the folder is, and then we open rangers ranger drives v2.csv. So we have ranger drives v2.csv, and then the file should be loaded into our list raw data. So without using any logic as of yet, you know you need to have a for loop that will go line by line, right? You always need a for loop that will go line by line, list raw data list, and then we want to count the number of lines inside our list raw data list. And then again, without using any logic, we have to obtain the current line inside the file. Therefore, we are going to use this attribute in the class which is called current line, and then you say current line is equal to list raw data list, and then give us the first string or whatever string that is. So we use I. You see, at this point, no logic was used. It's just syntax. It's just syntax, okay? So now it's time for us to generate or make that report. So if we look at the output, that output has ranger details, camp code, and then week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then lastly the average. But now these headings, they said they have provided them for us inside a particular method. So there is this method called display report header, which is defined somewhere at the top. So here it is. It is already defined for us. So we need to add the headers first. Ne? So we just say before actually we do anything else, we need to call display report header. Oh, it's already called. It's already called for us. No, so we just need to continue. So we need to know how many fields there are inside that particular file. How many fields there are inside that particular file. I know there is ranger. There's ranger details, which is the same name and the initial. There's the camp code, and then there is four values for week 1 up to 4 only. So we have field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 fields. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 fields. Don't save. Okay, so we are going to start with ranger details. Then we are going to say ranger details is equals to, and then we use our famous get field by number function. Get field by number. And then we say we want to get a field from this current line, and we want field number 1, and we want this function to take the fields using this delimiter. So what is the delimiter in our file? What is the delimiter in our file?
Is a comma.
Comma.
It's like, yes, comma, yes, comma, because we are working with a comma separated values file. Ne? So sometimes we may not even specify what the delimiter is. As long as you notice that this is a CSV file, already you must know that you are working with a comma. Okay, so without wasting any more time, I'm going to copy this line, paste it 6 times because I know there are 6 fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Too many, delete 1. And then the second field will be my camp code, which is at field number 2. I have week 1, which is field number 3. Am I right? Yes. And then I have week 2, which is at field number 4. I have week 3, which is at field number 5. And then week 4, which is at field number 6. Just like that, without even using any logic, you know you're supposed to get marks for all of this. No logic used as of yet. Okay, so now we need to prepare our report. So if we go back to the header file, you'll notice we have another attribute called one red line. And this attribute, always it will be used to make a particular record, like this whole line, né? This whole line. So we are going to say one red line is equals to ranger details, and then we make a tab always, and then we use camp code, we make a tab, and then we make week 1, write it under week 1 tab, week 2 tab.
Sir?
Hello?
So do we get penalized for using other variable names than the one provided?
Usually we would, but hey, since it's tough, we decided not to.
Okay, sir.
All right. So we have our one red line, but if you look at our one red line, it is missing the average part. It is missing this average part. So we have to calculate the average so that we can come and concatenate the average there. Okay, so currently we do not have an average. Now, most of you may have gotten, may receive the comment called, I think the comment stated, logic error flow or something like that. That is because you find people, we are creating a record, and then after this then is when we start to calculate and do all the other stuff, while in actual fact we need to calculate first. Okay, this should be towards the end, and it should always be followed by one red output lines, add one red line. Okay, so please make sure before you make this line you have all the values necessary to make a report. Please. So we are going to say, before we make this line, we want to calculate the average. Okay, but now, okay, we have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and they are all ancestring. It means we cannot use them to calculate. Ne? So here's what we are going to do. Obviously, to get the average, we need the total. So we are going to start by saying week total is equals to week 1. But remember, week 1 is a string. So we have to convert it to int then we say plus week 2 dot to int plus week 3 dot to int plus week 4 dot to int. So now we have a week total. So if we have a week total, we can have a week average. Okay, but now there's also something there at the bottom which says grand total for all weeks and all ranges. Ne? So grand total is going to be the total of all the weeks. So I can just say all total equals to week total plus all total itself. So week total is equals to all total plus week total. So with every total of the week, we go and add it on top of all total because we want the total for all the weeks and all ranges. Okay, so we have that, and then finally we can have the week average, and we say the week average is equals to the week total divided by the number of weeks, which is 4, right? Then we say divide by 4. I'll say 0.0 because I do not want to lose the decimal values. You'll remember that week total is int. So if I say int divided by int, I'm just going to get a whole number. For example, if I say 6 divided by 4, instead of getting 1,5, I'm going to get 1. So when I do the 4.0 there, I'm just telling it that I want to get the whole value. Yeah, awesome. So now I have my week average there. I can come and add my average on the line. So it's a float, so I have to convert it to string using float to string, and then I give it week average. Awesome. So let's quickly test that out. What is wrong? What am I doing wrong here? Week taught. So question 2, summary, and then that is our summary. That is our summary. But now let's check the output. So you'll notice on the output there's only one decimal point, only one value after the decimal. So we have to sort that one out. And then we also have to add grand total. Ne? Okay. Why are the values not the same? 8,3. This one is saying 9,7. Oh, remember they said we must also sort. Ne? As you can see, they have sorted according to the names. B, C, F, G. Ne? They have sorted according to the names. So that is why on ours there it's not working. It's not showing the exact results. So let us ensure that we only have one decimal value. So for that, let us use format float. Is it format float, the short one? Yes, format float, which takes the format, and we just say, look, we want a value, and then after that value, we want a decimal, and then after that decimal, we also want one value. That's how our format is going to be. And then we want to format week taught. So let us see if that does the trick. It does not work. Okay, so let's use 0, 0, and then let's use 0 there. Let's see if that will work. we are getting some values. Am I using the correct? Oh, average, not week tot. Sorry, week average. Let's see if that works. So now we are getting two values before the decimal because I added 2 zeros there. So let's remove 1 0. Let's have that, and then now the output is as expected. What am I? So now we have the decimal correctly displayed. So now we have to sort this data. We have to sort this data. We also have to add the grand total. I think let's start with the grand total since it's straightforward. So we are just going to say add an empty line because you can see there's an empty line there. There's a blank line there. Okay, and then now we have to add grand total. We say grand total plus, but now before I concatenate the total of all weeks, I want you to notice where this 675 is placed at. It is placed under week 1, meaning we have to make a first tab here, and then we will be on this position, and we have to make another tab, then we'll be on that position. So we need 2 tabs now. So we're going to say 1 2, and then we can concatenate week all total into string all tot. So let's quickly check that out. Awesome. So you'll see now that 765 appears exactly under week 1 because we made a tab there, and then we also made another tab here. Okay, so now it's time to sort. It's time to sort. So ladies and gentlemen, if I can just do this, if I can come here and say rate output and then sorted equals to true, it's not a member of what. Okay, lines sorted. It's not a member of T strings. So what? How do we sort? Oh, not sorted. I think it's sort. Not there. Okay. I thought maybe we would cheat it. I thought maybe we can say rate output sort equals to true, and then we get 8 marks. So we cannot. We cannot. The rich edit does not have sort, but doesn't need really. Let's see, sorted. Okay, yeah, it does not have sort. What a shame. So it means to sort we will need to use bubble sort, ne? We will need to use bubble sort somewhere. For those who still remember bubble sort. So I want to sort specifically here before these 2 lines come in because they might give us some errors or some problems. So I want to sort with only this data that is currently there. And if you still remember sort says the outer for loop begins at 0, and then it says it is less than the count minus 1. Ne? So it is list row data list count minus 1, meaning the size minus 1 is the loop that we used to do in TPG201. To sort, we need the outer loop. We also need the inner loop, and the inner loop begins at 1, and it goes from this up until count or size, and then J++. Again, we also need an if statement to check if the current line is greater than or it's lesser or whatever than the previous line. So as you can see, they have sorted according to the names. They have sorted according to the names, right? So here's what we are going to do. We are going to take the name and check if it's greater. We are going to take the first name and check if it's greater than the second name. Ne? For example, let me run this so that you can see what I'm talking about. So we are going to take Harrison J and check if Harrison J is greater than the second name, which is Kanye. So if that is true, then we want to swap. We want to say this name and all this record, actually, it must come at the top, and then this one at the top should come to be the second. And then as it loops, it now takes that Harrison again because it will have swapped. Again, it takes Harrison again and then checks if Harrison is greater than Pollard. That is not true, so no swapping occurs. Now we say, is Pollard greater than Walls? How does, actually maybe I should ask you. If maybe, let me ask you like this. I have a capital letter A, and then I have a small letter A. Between the two, which one is greater? Am I still in the meeting or they kick me out? Okay. Between capital letter A and small letter A, which one is bigger?
I think it's the small ones.
The small one.
Yeah.
So we are saying is it tried or tried? Tried. So are we saying tried is greater than tried? Is that what we are saying? Guys, come on. This tried here with small letters and this tried here with capital letters. Which one is bigger and which one is smaller? Like, which one is greater than the other?
One with
Pardon?
the one with capital letters
Is what?
is bigger.
How did you reach that conclusion? Just because they are uppercase?
On the ASCII table.
Wonderful. That's all you have to say, Miss Mashap. Thank you. So when we compare strings, we are actually comparing, looking at the ASCII table, if you still remember. So let me see if I can quickly get it up. The browser will be a little bit slow. Okay, let's see ASCII table. ASCII table, quickly. Great. So looking at the ASCII table, we are able to tell which case is greater than the other. Okay. So looking at this ASCII table, we can see that where are the small letters? The small letters begin at 97. And if the small letter A is already at 97, it means the small letter A is actually greater than all the uppercase characters. Is that correct? Because the capital letters begin at 65 and they end at 90. But the small letters, they start at 97. So when we compare that small letter Swahili and the uppercase letter Swahili, it actually starts comparing character by character. Again, it compares. Is this T greater than this T? Yes. And then somewhere it keeps track. Ne? Is this one greater than this one? Yes. Is this small h bigger than this and then h? And then finally we will say this child is greater than this child. So similarly with the names of these rangers, we will want to capture the name first, which will be, okay, we have ranger details B. So we could say, I don't like those names, those variable names. So maybe we could say ancestring there, current name, meaning the name on the current record, ne? Current name, and then previous name, because again our loop starts at 1, so it will always start at the second record comparing against the first record. It goes to the third record, it compares against the second record. So we are going to have the current and the previous one, and then I might as well have temp record. I might have a temp record there. So I'm going to start by saying current name is equals to get field by number. Oh, I'm going to need a record. So I'm going to get current line again, and I'll say get a line from this T string list at strings J. Remember, this starts at 1, ne? So we are looking at second record. This starts at J, which is 1. Okay, so I'm going to say get the current name from this current record by using the get field by number. We say get a line from this and then give us the first field because that is the name that we want. And then the delimiter is a comma. So now what we want to check is we want to check if this current name is greater than the previous name. Okay, so it means again I have to get the previous name somehow. So to get the previous name, I have to get another line, but this line it should get the previous line, not the current line. Ne? So I'm going to use a temporary record. Then I'm going to say temporary record is equal to this line, but now I'm going to use a -1 so that this temporary record can focus on the previous record. Okay, so now I'm going to check. Okay, I also need the previous name there, so I'm going to copy this, then I'm going to paste it there, and then in place of current line I'm going to replace it with temp record. So now I have a previous name, a previous name coming from a previous record, and then I have current name coming from current record. Okay, so I have name 1 and name 2. So now I can start comparing. If current name is greater than the previous name, it means the previous name is the one that is smaller, therefore it should come first. Okay, then we need to swap. And to swap, we'll always need another temporary variable. Is it given? Okay, we have temp there at the top, we can use it. So we'll always start by saying temp is equals to, which one is this? Temp record. Actually, let's start with this one. Temp is equals to current line. Okay, and then now I'm going to say current line is equals to temporary record. Isn't it that I want to swap according to the names? And the current line is equals to temp record, and then I now say temp record is equals to my temp. So this is my swap. So remember, current line is what? The line at J, meaning the second record. And then the temp record is J minus 1, meaning the first record. Okay, so now what we are doing here is we were checking if the name in the first record is greater than the name in the second record. All right, now if that is the case, then we want to swap the whole line, the whole lines. So we now say that line, let's save it in a temporary variable. Now let's say that line is equals to this line. And then we now say that line is now equals to the temporary line which we saved. So this should sort the results in the rich edit. Is it the rich edit? No, this will only swap inside the t-string list. Now, and if this is the case, then let us see. So it means we could actually have this. We could have this inside our loop, but it's going to be a mess. So let's say we want to do this one. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to make some few changes because now we want to only sort in the red output. So I'm going to use red output here, red output there, and then here in terms of getting the lines, I'll say lines and then strings. Okay, and then I'm going to reuse this here, and then hopefully it should sort. I think maybe we may need to clear somewhere, but let's see. Oh, this is a mess. Okay, so I have to replace current line with this, which to me looks the same. Okay, but anyway, and then I have to take what's on the right, bring it on the left, and then now my left is this, and then take what's on the left and then bring it on the right. Shoo. Let's see if what we are doing is not tautology. Okay, lines and then count. Lines and then count. Let's see if we are not doing tautology there. Yeah. Okay, it's sorted, but if you can check, it's sorted in descending order. You see now it says W, and then we actually wanted them to start with B. So to only change that, we are just going to change this sign to less than. To less than. And then I also noticed that the headings are no longer there. So I need to call this again here, just so that I can have the headings next. And then, wait, did the headings disappear or they went to the bottom? Let's double check. Let's see. Where are the headings? They also got sorted. They also got sorted. So the headings take about three lines, ne? Take about 3 lines. So we have line 1, header 1, line 1, 2, 4. So we have about four lines. So we are going to instruct our loop not to sort the heading. So we are going to tell it to start at 4, and then here we'll say 5. I hope that works because we do not want to sort the headings. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is our information sorted. Yeah, that is our information sorted. Any questions? Any questions? So we are all fine, or it's just too much to comprehend?
Hey, I feel like it's a lot.
It's a lot to comprehend. Yeah? Don't
Yeah,
worry.
is this the only method available to sort?
I know this one. I love this one. I don't know if there's another. I wanted to cheat it by using the property sort, but it's not there. I think the property sort is only for this box. I wanted to say sort, but it's not there. And even when I say lines, I say sort, it's not there. So yeah, I like Bible sort because I understand it. There's linear, I think it's called linear sort or something. You can also use it if you're able to apply it. But yeah, the challenge here is we want to take the entire line. You see, if it was just maybe values, it would be simple. But now we want to check with certain fields, and then if whatever condition is the one that we want, then we want to swap the entire lines. Not just take the first name and put it at the top, but we have to take the record of that name and then put it at the top, and the one that was on the top, it must come below. So this is swap. Or perhaps, let's see, is there a function called swap? Yeah, there's a function called swap. Okay, no parameters expected. Why are you doing that? No parameters expected. So what are you swapping there? Okay, what if I say this line swap with dot swap, this line dot swap with the other, like this, and then I don't have to do this step. Okay, this line dot swap with this line, and then here maybe instead of checking or wanting to take a name from the field, maybe we could say if this entire line is less than the line on the second record, which is j minus 1, put it there, and then delete all this, and then try it out. What's wrong? Yeah, it's Unicode most. You want the address, but I'm giving you the address most. Okay, let's try to do that. It seems like it needs a left value of Unicode. Is this not a string? It's a string. That's why I was able to call swap. Let's see if there's anything. Oh, okay. Remember, this returns an ANSI string, so it cannot work. So it is forcing me to have an ANSI string. Line 2 is equals to this, bottom right, and then ANSI string line 1 is equals to j minus 1, and then I can say line 2 dot swap with line 1. Let's see before I even go further if this works. Unsistering line 1 there. Okay, so it's going to work. Then after swapping them, I can say this one, since it was line 2, I want it now to be line 1. And then I can say this one, which was line 1, j minus 1, I want it to be line 2. Okay, let's see if that works. Yes. No, doesn't work. So, and I've made a lot of changes. Let's see if we can undo. We can't. Okay, but I think it works. I think it works. It's just that the if statement of ours could be wrong. Hey, I'm tired now. Line 2, and then let's have this one there is equals to that one is equals to this one. So this should be equals to there, and what's on the right comes on the left. So this one, it was line 2, so I'm basically saying line 2 is equals to line 1, and then this one was line 1, so I'm basically saying line 1 is equals to line 2. Okay, so that works, but now the problem is on the if statement. So now let's say get field by number from this string, get us field number 1, and the delimiter is a comma, and check if it is less than get field by number. This string also give us 1, and replace with your. I think the more I do it, the more it becomes complicated. Let's check.
It's the same as the other one.
Yeah, I see now it's even doing some. No, I think the first one was better.
Let's stick to that one. I know this.
And I lost it. Now I can't remember. I can't find it. I can't find it. Okay, let's see quickly. I remember I had maybe current line somewhere here, or current name. So let's have ancestring current name is equals to get filled by number that name, and then I remember I have previous name. Actually copy the whole line, and then we have previous name, which is -1. Okay, and then we had if current name is less than previous name, then we want to, what is this? We want to swap. So to swap, we said the name on the current line is Jane. So we will store this inside temp. So this will be our temporary line. And then the next line, or rather how I usually put it is, after doing this temp line, what is on the right comes to the left, and then it equates to whatever -1. Ne? Again, what is on the right comes to the left and then gets the value of 10. I think this one was short and sweet. Yes, this one was short and sweet. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, anyway, any questions? I'm not even going to try and do whatever then. Any questions here? Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that was question 1 and question 2 of the exit. It's 5:45 now. It's late. It's late, and I have to finish setting web test 5. So let us stop here, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to do question 3 on your own. Ranjo, what is question 3 here? Oh, please, yeah, do question 3 on your own, and please make sure you master this question 3. Ne? Don't ask me why. Make sure you master that question 3. I'm going to stop the recording here.